What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Jared Barnes Show. I'm your host, Jared Barnes. Fun episode we got planned for today. We got an XFL recap to start the episode. Then after that, we're going to hit on whether we should honestly be concerned about the XFL with the attendance and everything like that. I'm going to give my top 5 quarterbacks for this upcoming draft with the Combine being this week. We're going to talk a little bit about Dame Lillard, maybe about the pitch count for the MLB and how we feel about that. And we're going to end with an NFL news roundup in our rank 3. Today's topic in rank 3 is pizza change, and I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one to say the least. So with that being said, we won't waste any more time. We'll just hop right into it. And last week in the XFL, the first game of the week was Battlehawks at Sea Dragons. And Sea Dragons did what they did in week 1. They started off hot. Then the Battlehawks rattled off 17 unanswered and had a comeback like they did prior. But Seattle answered, took the lead again off of a fantastic drive, but wasn't able to stop a comeback that was from the Battlehawks, and they won on a game-winning field goal as time expired. The Battlehawks are a very good team at 2-0. Sea Dragons need to figure some things out on offense, cause a lot of turnovers. Nate, that is your team. How do you feel about them going forward right now?
I feel like a Cowboys fan. I think this just it's deja vu almost. Except we're not starting off the season hot. Like we lost our first game and then we went on a big win streak. But I think Seattle's a great team. Like they are a very talented team. You have a former NFL quarterback. You have a former and like an elite wide receiver. He was in the NFL, elite wide receiver at least one season. Except Weed got him. So like that was the greatest defender of all time. Dion and Weed, those should be probably up there for cornerback of the century. But yeah, having said that though, I think we're in a decent spot. We just have to figure it out. Like it's a new league, it's a new system. Our coach is funny though. Like our coach is funny. I have confidence in him. He's like, just score. That's all he said. It's like we're going for things like just score. That's all he said. But yeah, I feel confident we have the pieces to be successful. It's just we have to figure it out. It sucks for us, but cause the law, and I think we all understand that Battlehawks are good. So
I don't think it was completely fair to Seattle, like you said. Like they were just playing a buzzsaw in St. Louis. Like I love Jim Haslett. He's a Pittsburgh guy. I'm from that area of the country, so like I think he's hilarious. I think he's a good coach. I think you guys will maybe figure it out, but I do think the turnover thing is going to continue to be a thing. Ben Naducci is going to continue to make those kind of throws. This is just something you're going to have to adjust to. But Battlehawks will be playing at DC this weekend. They're not going back to St. Louis yet, so they're going to play against some of the rowdiest fans in the XFL in DC, and then Seattle will take on another 0-2 Vegas team at Cashman Field in Week 3. Hopefully, the grass is a little bit better, because in this game, it looked bad on TV. The Defenders and the Vipers game, it just looked bad on TV. It was extremely bad weather. And in a league that we like the XFL, where the quarterback play is not extremely high, like the experience level and the talent level is just not extremely high, weather like we saw with the crazy wind and the rain, it's going to really have an effect on this game, which it made this game almost unwatchable. I'm sure the ratings for this game are going to be really bad. And it was a game where both teams had to run the ball a lot. Vegas just didn't do that as well because they had a quarterback change on their third drive of the game to a more mobile quarterback. But I think it kind of disrupted whatever they had going because they weren't playing terrible. I mean, they failed to capitalize the entire game on amazing field position. And I think that was part of their issue as well. Like, they were inside the 20 multiple times, no points. The only time they scored a touchdown was when Jordan Teyamu got rocked in a sack and fumbled the football, and they got the ball on like the 2-yard line, and that was their only touchdown of the game. It was 18-6, so it really just wasn't. DC won this game and pretty much dominated throughout, defensively and offensively. Part of that was they just have an advantage because they have two quarterbacks that have a good ability to run the ball. De'Aaron King, when he came in the second half, he brought an electricity to the offense that Jordan Teyamu just doesn't have. But I think both those quarterbacks are extremely important to the defender's offense because they don't really trust De'Aaron King to throw. Everyone knows De'Aaron King's going to run it at this point, so I wonder if people will start playing the run a lot harder with the Eric King in there, and maybe they'll start throwing the football. But I really enjoy watching both those quarterbacks. I'm a big fan of Teyamu. I am a Defenders fan, but it's really hard not to root for St. Louis, and they're both playing this weekend, so it's a game that I'm really torn on. But luckily, DC hosts them this time, and if DC can get the win here, remain undefeated, this would be huge for them. It's going to be tough, and like we mentioned before, Vegas is going to host the Sea Dragons. Anybody have thoughts on that game?
I just really want to see. Is it Derek or is it Derek? I keep forgetting. De'Eric. There we go. I want to see him line up as a running back, a halfback, and just let them go to work. I mean, like, you have two great quarterbacks. Even their third quarterback is an athlete. Like, just put them all three in, just like have the defense confused. Like, I think DC's in a great position, and like we never talked about it in the first show. We introducing the rules. Did we talk about the
double pass?
you can do a double forward pass. It has to be behind the line of scrimmage. Like, you can't like throw like a 60-yard dot and then just have him chuck it to. You can't do that. But like behind the line of scrimmage, you can like throw like a screen pass and then have him go. Like, you have three quarterbacks that can already run the ball, that can they can throw the ball. They're quarterbacks. So like, I think DC has a lot of stuff that they can do on offense. They just haven't shown us that they can do that. The coaches haven't used all the weapons they have available. And so like I think DC's in a good spot. I think DC has more talent than Seattle does in offense. So that defense is so good, and that defense just keeps them in games. But they do need to figure out an offense if they want to go far, beat St. Louis. So that's what I have to say. So,
and like, to be completely fair, like, I don't think DC's as good as their like. I don't think DC should be undefeated. They just happen to be a beneficiary of weather and turnovers in both their games, really. I mean, the Lemons and the fans pretty much won on the first game because they went on a 14-0 run after that incident. And then, what was that noise? You guys can hear me? Cut out? Okay, we're good. Okay, just wanted to make sure. We've been having crazy technical issues. I don't know what's going on. StreamYard needs to figure it out. That's what we record through. They need to figure it out. It's probably us, but they need to figure it out. But with that being said, that's really all I have to really say about the Defenders and Vipers. I mean, the third game of the week was the Brahmas and Guardians. I mean, the Guardians are a disaster. They're in trouble. I mean, they need to just figure out who their quarterback is this week and give him all the reps with the ones so that he can build chemistry with the wide receivers. DeAndre Francois is that number one, in my opinion, just based on what I saw in the first 2 weeks. Quentin Dormady was good, but threw a lot of picks. Didn't really move either. Paxton Lynch is just like Paxton Lynch is like not good. Like, I'll just be straight. Like, he doesn't move. Like, his mobility is very limited. He's really big, but like outside of that, like, he doesn't really bring anything to the table. DeAndre Francois commands the huddle well. I mean, we saw that in the viral clip where he told his offensive lineman to shut the F up. Like, because he was trying to call the play. They had to call a timeout, but it's been rough. Their coach has had enough, though. Terrell Buckley has definitely had enough with his team, and it's week 2. This is what he had to say in the third quarter when he benched Paxton Lynch.
Welcome back to Orlando here with Coach Buckley. Coach, how do you change this momentum?
We got to get different guys in there. Obviously, I got guys out there that are not competing, that are not making plays. So we got to get people in there, young men that want to play, that want to compete and make plays.
I just saw you walk up and down this sideline and look some guys in their faces. What did you see out of your team?
I'm seeing guys not performing. Look at the scoreboard. They got to perform.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
might need to put Carson Wentz at a quarterback now since he's in the market. That's probably the solution for Orlando at this point.
It might be. I don't know if they can afford Carson. I feel like Carson's going to demand a pretty hefty salary. He might still have those turnover issues their other quarterbacks all have, though.
That's fair.
But he might shred in this league because he can do that at the NFL level still. But I think you're going to see a much different team walk out there in Week 3 versus Arlington for Orlando. They just didn't perform well in this game at all. And San Antonio took advantage of that time in and time out again in this game because they obviously saw blood in the water when when they were on the field with Orlando and could tell this team wasn't a team that was going to compete. So they had no issue moving the ball up and down the field. They even took advantage of a block punt, a couple turnovers. Like, they were given great field position just multiple times by Orlando. And I think St. Louis will continue to build off of this, but they're heading into a matchup in Week 3 versus Houston that's going to be a tough matchup. That being said, the final game of the weekend and the best game of the weekend was the Arlington Renegades at Houston Roughnecks. It was a game that was heated throughout. Stoops and Wade Phillips, this is obviously going to be a rivalry. It's the two better Texas teams, in my opinion. I think these are the two best Texas teams in the XFL. And Houston started hot. Arlington answered, and then Arlington never scored the rest of the game. Like, Houston closed out the game with 2 touchdowns in the second half, and Arlington just couldn't do anything. Like, they have some issues at quarterback I think they need to figure out. Like, just straight up. I like Drew Plitt a lot, but I think he lacks something. And I think Kyle Slaughter can maybe bring that to the Renegades week 3. I don't know if they're going to go that route. I think he can, but Houston's so good. Week 1 we said, oh, their wide receiver core looks like the best wide receiver core maybe in the entire XFL. And then week 2, they don't even really use Kirkland or Deontay Burnett. They use different receivers. They use a halfback that they're lining up in the slot. They use Matt Borhe. Like, this team has weapons on weapons on weapons, and they have a play caller that I really trust, and he really seems to understand the XFL. He gets the play calls in quick. He communicates with his quarterbacks well. They run a 2-quarterback system to almost perfection with Cole McDonald and Brandon Silvers. They know exactly when to use which one and how to use each one. I would say they do it better than DC, but Houston's a great team. I love them a lot. Micah, you're a fan of Arlington. Like, they're sitting 1-1 right now. They're not in a terrible, terrible spot, but how do you feel about them moving forward?
No, I'm not. I don't feel too bad about them. I think the one of the problems is Bob Stoops hasn't coached in a long time, and it's taking him a second to get back in the saddle and getting used to this. I think that's one of the main problems. One of the main things that I have against Drew is he forces it. Like, it just seems like he's forcing it, and he needs to be more confident. I feel like a couple times he could have ran instead of forcing the ball to one of his players, and he didn't do that. It was a big defensive game. I mean, it was low scoring, but I mean, it was a good game. It's just, I mean, he threw that interception early on, and that kind of set the tone for it. And I mean, they got the ball back on a kick return, but it's almost like they couldn't get any momentum pushing for them. They get a touchdown, and then nothing would happen after that. So, I mean, it doesn't look bad right now. It's not like an upsetting loss, but we'll see what happens in the future. I think they'll be a good team, but I don't know how good. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think, like, that was the first play. That was the first offensive play for Arlington. Like, to throw that pick on the first play was just tough. And Houston's an opportunistic defense. This is a defense that their defensive coordinator was a DB's coach literally his entire career before getting this job. And he's coached for a ridiculous amount of time. So, like, this was a team was gonna be built through the secondary, and they really took advantage of an inexperienced quarterback. I think Plitt has really good potential, but they need to maybe make just a slight change. I mean, who knows? I don't know what trades look like, but I'm sure Orlando would gladly trade Paxton Lynch to the Renegades if you guys wanted to trade, like, maybe just cash to him. I feel like they'd be open to do so. But
Give us the jerseys.
yeah. I think Orlando has the bounce back this week with not Orlando. Arlington has the bounce back this week with Orlando. I think Orlando's going to be the laughingstock of the league. I don't know if they're ever going to figure it out. But Houston's a dominant team. I'm looking forward to when Houston has to play St. Louis, but that's not this weekend. So until then, Houston, I feel like, is going to be really just not challenged by anybody. I said they play San Antonio, correct? Houston? Yeah, they go. Houston opened up with 3 straight home games. I don't like that if I'm Houston. Like, personally, I would want a home game later in the season. 3 straight's rough, but I understand that probably that stadium has to be used by the college in the spring. that's still tough to open up with 3 straight home games because the Battlehawks open up with 3 straight away games, and they're in the opposite conference. They're going to have a lot of home games down the stretch.
I feel like it'd be better to open up with 3 home games. Why not? Like, what do you have against that? Like, because like you're practicing on that field, so you should be really comfortable. I mean, it's not like you have a crowd advantage because there's not a lot of people showing up to these things, but like you're there
Yeah.
and that's what you practiced on. So would that be better?
They don't. So all the teams practice in Arlington. That's like they all travel to Arlington every week and then travel back out. Yeah, I think a lot of people. I honestly don't think a lot of people don't know that actually. To be fair, that they all travel to like they all practice in Orlando. They have practice partners.
Was it Houston and Arlington?
Houston and Arlington are practice partners. Yeah. So like it was hilarious. Like during the game, like Houston was talking so much smack on the sidelines. Like they see us every day and they still can't stop us. Like that's demoralizing to another team. Like they know they see them every day and they still know they can't stop them. That's tough. Like I'd rather close the season because like you can. There is maybe a little bit of an advantage. Like if Houston started off 3-0 or like 2-0 and they didn't have a home game yet, imagine what those attendance could be like. Instead, they're going to be on the road to really end the season a lot. That's a lot of traveling there at the end because you're flying a lot because you're flying pretty much every week. You're not traveling from Arlington to Houston on a bus because that's a long travel like ride. Seattle flies 9 weeks out of the season. The only time they don't fly is when they play Arlington because Arlington is the home base. Arlington kind of has the advantage, which is what I think helps because they don't have to leave Arlington as much as anybody else. They only leave Arlington 5 times. Everybody else leaves Arlington way more than that. So, that being said, that's really all I have to say about the recap of the XFL. So, the next thing I want to really discuss with you guys is like, is the XFL in trouble? Their attendance has not been great. You mentioned it. You said it. Like, their average attendance numbers are not great either. I think St. Louis will like crazily boost those, and part of the reason I think that is because like this is tweeted out by the city, like Explore St. Louis. An overwhelming fan demand. St. Louis Battlehawks season ticket memberships are now available in the upper deck of the Dome at America Center starting at $40 per seat per game. Get yours today. Hashtag fill the top. I see that tweet and I go, oh, wow, because no other stadium is going to fill the third level. The upper deck at this is a professional football stadium that seats, I don't know how many that stadium seats, but to decide that there's an overwhelming majority of seats that are going to be bought and to fill the demand, you have to open up the next level, which nobody thought was going to happen. I'd guess there's going to be over 30,000 people at this Battlehawks game. 30,000 when they play at home. So in my opinion, I think the XFL is okay attendance-wise because while they might not get the attendance at Vegas, they might not get the attendance at Seattle they're hoping for. Or I think Orlando's going to be a problem. Orlando had 12,000, but if Orlando's bad, why would you want to go to that game unless you want to watch the other team? I think Orlando could be a problem.
St. Louis Stadium. Sorry, that was aggressive. That's my bad. These mics are nice. I keep forgetting. St. Louis Stadium can fit up to 82,000 people, and they're filling it because the bottom bowl is 28,000, and if they're filling that up, the upper bowl is 29,000.
So they're gonna have like 30,000 people.
Well, at least because if the bottom's filled.
Right, that's almost 30.
That's almost 30 right there. And, like, we're still a week out. Like, if they win this next game, like, how many people are going to – I might take a flight down there or up there. You know, I guess that seems exciting. That seems exciting. Kakao is the law, bro. This is the team of destiny, like you said. Yeah.
Fly us out there?
That's true. We gotta put that down there.
Yeah, I wish we could afford that. Wish we could actually do that. But so Kevin Seifert from ESPN tweeted the XFL Week 2 attendance. Orlando had 12,011. Houston had 11,675, which is down from Week 1. Seattle had 10,386. got to remember that Seattle is also competing against the Kraken. People love the Kraken up in Seattle. And their game, if you're going to be at a sporting event, it was cold in Seattle. If you're going to be cold, why wouldn't you go to an inside place where it's supposed to be cold than to an outside place where you're dealing with the conditions as well? Their game, the puck dropped at the same time as the Seattle kickoff on Thursday. I think that's a terrible schedule by ESPN because that's who did the scheduling. ESPN bought the XFL rights to just fill time slots. I've been saying that about the USFL, and I've been saying like that's the advantage of the XFL. Listen, ESPN did the same thing, so I can't use that no more. Like if you just take a look at the way ESPN's got their website set up for the XFL, they really don't care about it. They're just like, let's just play these games so that we can boost our ESPN Plus numbers. When if you have a subscription to a cable provider, you don't even need ESPN Plus to watch the games. Just an FYI, I've seen people signing up for ESPN Plus and heard of people signing up for ESPN Plus just to watch XFL games. If you or someone in your family has DirecTV, log in with DirecTV. You can watch the games for free. You don't have to sign up for ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus is a bad streaming service that's not worth the money. Unless you're trying to watch UFC, which you then have to pay for by a pay-per-view, and then is it even that fun when you can find an illegal stream? Not that I do that.
No.
I never would watch any legal stream. Dana, I pay every dime to watch UFC fights. I actually don't, but
I actually don't.
No.
But yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, the attendance numbers are the 2-week average is 12,712. Well, and the 2-week average in 2020 was 18,263. So it's down significantly. The ratings, I don't know what the ratings for week 2 were. I assume they weren't as good as week 1. And week 1's ratings weren't great. Because I don't think putting the games on FX is great. And then ESPN doesn't give us the streaming numbers, which would really help. It'll be intriguing to see. I think the XFL is okay because I think it's a better quality football than the USFL. I don't know if you guys have any more thoughts on that topic, but I think the XFL is okay. I don't think there's need to worry specifically because of the St. Louis attendance and because I think that there is at least 2 really good teams in the league. But yeah. Moving on from that, though, it's been NFL draft this year is wild. I'll just say that. Like, it's very interesting because there are a lot of very, very good quarterbacks. And it's more or less pick your poison on who you want. Do you want Bryce Young, who might be a little bit small? Do you want CJ Stroud, who can make every throw on the field just like Bryce Young, but has a little bit better size? Or do you want a guy like Anthony Richardson, who is being compared to Cam Newton and Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson and is really good as well? Then there's Will Levis, who everybody loves, and there's Hendon Hooker. There's a lot of options you can go with. CBS Sports last week dropped a mock draft that had Anthony Richardson going number 1 overall, which made me really question
To Chicago or?
to Indianapolis, trading up to get Anthony Richardson. It made me really question that in-person's integrity that did that mock draft. And then I looked down through, I see CJ Stroud at 8 to the Ravens, which nobody was talking about, but should have been talked about maybe a little bit more. It was a questionable mock draft, to say the least. Then I started watching Anthony Richardson film. I'm convinced he's a top guy in this draft. I think just like a lot of other people, I'm buying into the Anthony Richardson hype. I'm selling on Will Levis right now. Me personally. I'm selling on Levis. I'm not a believer in Levis. There's a lot of stats that back up maybe why Levis isn't as good, but then again, what he had offensively isn't good either. But then you look at what Anthony Richardson had outside. They didn't have good receivers in Florida. They didn't have any good receivers in Florida. CJ Stroud was really the only beneficiary of the top 5 quarterbacks that had, a guy that could go in the first round in this draft or the next draft. I don't think Bryce Young had that. I think Jalen Hyatt's really good, but he's a second-round guy. So I don't think Tennessee had that. Will Levis obviously didn't have that. And ESPN's Jeremy Fowler talked to a lot of people. He's one of their big insiders. And I think he's extremely good. He's a very talented insider. He's entertaining as well. And he was on NFL Live this past, I think it was weekend or maybe it was Friday. And he was talking about just how teams value Anthony Richardson. And he had this to say here.
There's one other potential first-round QB out there, Jeremy. Anthony Richardson from Florida. What are the GMs around the league saying about him?
Yeah, Laura, I've covered the draft for a little bit now.
Right.
I can't remember a bigger variance league-wide on a feeling about a quarterback than Anthony Richardson. I've talked to multiple teams whose scouting departments have first-round grades and fourth-round grades on the same player. We're talking fourth round. So he's immensely talented. And so that talent should overshadow the fact that he's considered a bit of a prospect, should go somewhere where he can maybe sit a year. But this quote from an NFL executive sticks with me. He's Cam Newton and Justin Fields combined.
Ooh.
As far as the ability, he has that.
Yeah, if you're going to say that, then I could see why some team might say, listen, we're going to take that risk and see what happens.
With that being said, I mean, you hear that kind of thing where people are like, he's Justin Fields and Cam Newton combined. You're like, wow, the athleticism is off the charts. His pocket awareness is fantastic. His ability to move, he's got a natural throwing motion, which is awesome because, like, sometimes guys that are extremely athletic don't necessarily have the natural throwing motion. He's got a beautiful throwing motion. Just a crazy arm. But the problem is his feet are kind of lazy, but that's because he has such a talent of an arm. I think you can coach the feet. I mean, Josh Allen, they've coached him, and he's become a much accurate passer. In my opinion, if I had to rank the top 5 quarterbacks, Bryce Young is 1. C.J. Stroud is 2. Anthony Richardson's 3. My 4, I think he's a top 10 quarterback, should be taken in the top 10 or top 15. A lot of people don't agree with me, is Hendon Hooker. I think he's the most disrespected quarterback in this draft class, and I think that everybody will be surprised draft night when he gets drafted really, really high, but I will not be. And then at 5, I have the obvious Will Levis. And the reason I have Bryce Young at 1 is because I think when you watch his tape, you see a guy that can really dominate. The problem with him is he's undersized. He's 5'10.5", which is good. Todd McShay from ESPN said that he thinks teams should run away from him just based on his size. I don't think that's an issue. I think his weight is definitely an issue, but his height is not an issue in my opinion. Then C.J. Stroud, he can make every throw on the field. He's the can't miss, I think, in this draft, because I think Bryce is a can't miss too. Problem with Bryce is Bryce will have no ability playing, but his size could be his problem. CJ doesn't have that issue. Anthony Richardson has crazy upside, but like some teams have him as a 4th rounder. Some teams don't have him as a 1st round grade. To me, that's wild. And this is a guy that's probably going to get drafted in the top 10. Hendon Hooker, before he tore his ACL, he was a Heisman candidate. I thought he was the best quarterback in the country before he tore his ACL. He doesn't throw many picks. He makes great decisions. He can also run the football really well. I don't see anything on tape that makes me go, oh, Levis is good. What I see with Levis is I see a lot of people seeing that preseason throw, that camp throw almost, where there's no pressure, and he's just throwing on open air. And to nobody. Like, to just, I don't know who it was in the video. There's a video in my mind particular where he's in no pads, just in a training facility, I think during 2020, where he just threw a laser. That's the video popping in my head when I think Will Levis, and that scares me because I don't think of any plays. With Anthony Richardson, I can see plays in my head. With Bryce Young, there's film in my head that pops out. C.J. Stroud, same thing. Hendon Hooker, same thing. Levis, there's not. But I think his talent is extremely good, and I don't think that's a problem. Nate, how do you feel about my top 5 there that I just gave? And how do you feel about Anthony Richardson?
Sorry, that's my bad. I muted early. Anthony Richardson, I'm a really big fan of Anthony Richardson. Just watching him, like he reminds me so much. He's a little different, but he reminds me a lot of Lamar. I was on the Lamar train like before anybody else was. Like the Cardinals were in that draft. I'm from Arizona, and I'm like, you guys need a quarterback. You probably should go get because I think they had the 27th pick or something, and I said go draft go draft Lamar Jackson. They instead traded up, got Josh Rosen. Look where they are now. They have a toddler at QB. And so I mean, they're not in the greatest spot right now. They should have put me as GM, but they got some guys in the office now. Hopefully they can figure it out. Bryce Young, yeah, can't miss product.
They hired Michael Scott as their head coach.
Yeah, that's true. Bro, that dude is funny, but he is corny. The Cardinals' new head coach is corny.
Yes.
Like I'm so glad I'm not a Cardinals fan. I don't know I don't know if it's much better than being a Cowboys fan, but yeah, bro, he reminds me that coach is like a loud Jason Garrett. Like if Jason Garrett said everything that was on his mind, that's who the Cardinals quarterback is. Just all right, let's go. Like that.
Jason Garrett's a true professional. Would never say something as bizarre as pew pew pew.
Yeah, no. Pew pew pew.
Like he would never out loud do that.
No, like Jason Garrett's a professional. Like this is Jason Garrett unhinged.
This is Jason Garrett if you gave him meth.
Dang, yeah. Anyway, moving on from Jason Garrett, but Anthony Richardson reminds me a lot of Lamar Jackson. And so, like, yes, there is that potential, but in a sense, I also see some things where it's like, we also said some of that stuff with Malik Willis. Or some people did. I didn't say it. I did say it, but some people said that about Malik Willis. I mean, other people have been compared to Lamar Jackson and have not turned out to be that guy. Now, with Will Levis, I see somebody, he's a hunter of sorts, a cougar hunter. I see Zach Wilson. You see two blonde white guys, both famous for having throws at a pro day,
Or
something similar. And like they just like even Zach Wilson showed us some things. Like the BYU was nationally ranked like late into the season. Like they were competing for one of those 4 spots. Everybody knew they weren't going to get one, but like they were like in the conversation. Like they were quietly in the conversation until Coastal Carolina. That was a great game. But yeah, but with Will Levis, I have not seen anything that has shown me that he is a top guy in this draft. There's nobody else I would put above him. There's nobody else I would put at 5, but with Will Levis, it's just like for people saying that he's 3 or 2, some crazy people are saying 1. I need that. I need those drugs that you're smoking. That's crazy. But like, yeah, Will Levis just doesn't impress me, and like all the times that he has the opportunity to prove us wrong, he's not there. His bowl game opts out. Senior day opts out. Okay, the bowl game's excusable. Senior day.
I have this to say about the bowl game. I don't know if you guys have seen the Iowa defensive tackle, or like he's one of their defensive linemen. They're calling him Hercules. Listen, I would have opted out too. This guy's a
Jordan Davis, like big.
No, he's not Jordan. No, he's literally built like Hercules.
Oh.
NFL posted about him about 5-6 hours ago. I fell in love with the guy immediately, just like based off his picture. If I was drafting him, like, bro, he's a first-round talent, just based off that singular photo. Just based off the singular photo and that singular highlight they posted, I'd be like, this guy's built like that. But then again, Kentucky wasn't great. Yeah. But maybe that's it. Iowa defense is a good defense. I would have opted out too and not played against Iowa's defense because that would have definitely tanked his draft stock.
The Senior Bowl is just what I'm
saying. The Senior Bowl. I think the Senior Bowl is kind of a waste of time. I think it's going to the East-West Shrine game in the NFL, and he wasn't invited to that. He was in the Senior Bowl. I'm okay with him not playing in the Senior Bowl. I'm completely okay with that. There wasn't a lot of NFL coaches there this year. So, now, if I had to pick the best landing spot for some of these quarterbacks, I don't know where the best landing spot for Bryce Young would be. Because he's small. I don't know if the Texans are going to be a great landing spot for him because they have no offensive line. I don't know. I don't think Anthony Richardson, they have the kind of coaching staff there to coach Anthony Richardson. I don't know who the Texans will take. I do think that the best fit for any of these quarterbacks that is currently in this draft, though, and I thought that CBS Sports mock draft last week was wild for having the Colts draft Anthony Richardson at 1. And then I thought about it. I thought about the guy they just hired. I thought about Shane Steichen. Who did he just coach? Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts said, a lot of people said Jalen Hurts couldn't really throw in the NFL. He wasn't going to make it because he couldn't throw that the football the way he was supposed to. Second in MVP this past year. And he was a great runner as well. Shane Steichen did a great job of coaching him. I can really see the Colts and Shane Steichen watching Anthony Richardson's film and saying, oh my goodness, this is a guy. We need to take him. Because they've had a really historically bad run of quarterbacks. For almost 10 years, to be honest with you. Andrew Luck didn't work out. And then from Andrew Luck on, they've been cursed. I don't know if Anthony Richardson's the answer. I think they can trade back, actually, and get Hendon Hooker still. Because I think that's where they should maybe go. But I would be completely okay with them drafting either one. Jim Irsay said to the media at Shane Steichen's press conference that he's in love with Bryce Young. He said that at the coach's press conference. He's the owner of the team. They're probably going to definitely make a move up to one because they need a quarterback bad. Almost worse than anybody else. Yeah. So I think Anthony Richardson at the Colts is a fantastic fit. I don't know about anybody else. I think Levis, you could fit Levis in anywhere. I think he's going to be a backup, though. If he's drafted somewhere, Levis is probably going to sit. I don't think anybody's ever ready to play coming into the NFL. If they ever say he's NFL ready, he's not. Nobody is. Not a single quarterback ever is NFL ready. I think every quarterback could benefit from sitting a year. Exactly.
The game was so slow.
Exactly, yeah. Justin Fields said game's slow, immediately rocked. That week in the preseason. Killed. So, yeah. That's how I feel. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts, but got it. That's all we have to say. We're going to bounce into some NBA stuff with Nate here. And really the only thing we got to talk about, I guess, is Dame going off. So 71 points is crazy.
Yeah, no, 71 points, dang. Holy cow. For those watching, we are having issues. We got to figure this out. But
yeah, this has been a rough show.
Yeah, no, we're our producers.
We're struggling. We are so sorry.
We're our producers. Midterms are coming up. We're kind of stressed. We're tired.
We're all mentally cooked. Yeah.
So, but anyway, Damian Lillard scored 71 points. This is the second time this season 71 points has been scored. But the thing is, Damian Lillard didn't need overtime. So, he did this all in regulation. And crazy thing is, he shot 59% from three. 59% from three. I think over 60% overall from the field. He was super efficient. Obviously, nobody else really had that many points. It's funny, on the Rockets, their leading scorer scored 17 points. So you switch those numbers around.
A lot of points, though.
Huh?
They had 120 something points?
114. But everyone was in double figures.
Yeah, that's a good game for them, though.
No, it was
they gave up 71, so.
It was a great game. The Rockets suck. Yeah. We all know this. They have some of the best young core, but they just suck. So I don't know what it is.
Intentional.
It's kind of intentional, but I don't know how much Victor solves this. I'm just gonna be real here. But you look at Portland, give Dame some help or ship him off. This man's in purgatory by his own merit. He says, I don't want to be Portland. He was on an interview and he said, these people better pray that I never win a championship in Portland. Well, we don't need to pray. God's punishing you. I don't know what you did.
And then he dropped the fire freestyle on that plane 2 days later.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
That dropped 71 2 days later.
Yeah, Dame, you are an excellent player. But in a famous,
bro,
why Portland? Tell him, what is appealing about Portland? I'm gonna be real. I've been to Portland. Jared has some thoughts. Obviously, it's not a right wing city. For those,
no, I'm not.
we're keeping Jared out of this. He's might have the bit over here, but yeah, I think Portland's not.
Do not frame me as that, please.
No. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, it's all good.
Sheesh.
I'm okay with that, actually.
Well, Portland's a sucky city. Portland sucks as a city, respectfully. Yeah. There is nothing. The only thing.
There's nothing good.
There's nothing good.
Don't let go get yourself.
Yeah.
Nike. That's the only thing And Dame's Adidas. So, like, it makes no sense to stay in Portland. Get my man out of Portland, please. Like, Dame, I promise you. Like, listen. Just go. Just leave, please. Like, we don't need to pray for you not to win a championship in Portland. It's never going to happen. Like, nobody wants to come to Portland. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Phoenix is nice. Like, we sucked because we had a bad owner. But Phoenix is always a nice city. Beautiful city. Portland, their management sucks. And it's a sucky city. So you're kind of in basketball hell right there. But yeah, Damian Lillard, excellent player, 71 points, crazy efficiency. He's one of the all-time greats. Definitely, some people were saying like he shouldn't be top 75 all time. He is. He's like Carmelo. What does Carmelo have in terms of accolades? Very little. He doesn't have a championship. I mean, he never won MVP, never was Defensive Player of the Year. He has a bunch of all-stars, so does Dame. Like, those are two great players that should always be in the consideration. But for those saying they never won this or that, they're just great players. Like, they also are in a generation where you have the second greatest player of all time playing in the NBA. Dang. Scoring record, give me 20 years. No, but yeah, so like that's the thing. It's like it's hard to compete with LeBron.
It is.
And so like Charles Barkley would have a championship if Michael Jordan didn't exist. My the child predator and John Stockton would both have championships. I don't want to summon him. It's like Biggie Smalls. If you've seen that South Park episode, say it 3 times, he appears. Like I'm so glad I'm 19 because it wouldn't affect me. But we don't want to take that chance. So yeah, I like these great players have kind of screwed some of these players over. But hopefully Dame figures it out and just says, "Hey, I need to leave." So Dame, please leave Portland. That's all I have to say.
I have Dame be in the MVP conversation. Like, I personally think he should. I don't know what his numbers this year look like, but this is just recency bias. A 71-point performance, I'd assume, kind of skyrockets his odds, right? I would assume. No?
No. You have so many great players. Jokic might repeat. Luka
Can't do it.
he's not going to be able to. So Damian Lillard's averaging 32 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. So some pretty great numbers. Jokic is just on another worldly level. Did I say Jokic again?
Yeah.
Sorry. The other center, Embiid, is doing some crazy stuff. Luka Doncic is doing crazy stuff.
It's a year for Luka.
Huh?
It's a year for Luka.
It's a year for Luka.
They want Luka to have one bad.
Yeah, I know. It's great, bro. I feel so bad. We're taking their sport away. Mac McClung first, 2 white MVPs. We might get a third one 3 years in a row. It's gonna be crazy.
They've never seen a run like that.
Never seen a run like that. To be fair, like they got some white hoopers. I mean, this is great.
Like Austin Reeves.
Yeah. Austin Reeves. Oh, I thought you were saying like Austin Rivers. I was like, I think he's black. Austin Reeves is a dog. He's a dog. He's like, get off me, boy. Like I look at him, I'm like plantation owner. Like I'm sorry, but like I see like southernness in Austin Reeves, but he's so good at basketball. I'm not gonna say that.
Wild take.
Anyway, but yeah, even though Damian Lillard is incredible, I don't think he should be in the MVP conversation. There's just too many names. Me personally, I'm giving it to Jokic again in terms of just his stats and stuff. But yeah, I would just give it to him again. So, but Luke is probably going to win it.
Okay. Good to know. That being said, I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about it today or not. The MLB pitch count, I think we're going to save that for next week to see if anything comes of that. Yeah. We'll wrap up with this NFL news roundup. Maybe have a little bit of thought on it, but maybe not. Carson Wentz was released by the Commanders just yesterday. They're going to save $20 million by cutting him, like $26 million by cutting him. If signed, Wentz will be playing for his. If signed to a new team, Wentz will be playing for his 4th team in 4 years. In 2019, he signed a 4-year, $128 million extension. He led the league in picks the next year, was then traded to Indy in 2021, then was traded to Washington in 2022, and will now face free agency, which I don't think looks good for him. But he might have options, who knows, as a backup. The Orlando Guardians might come calling. Another mid-quarterback, and I don't mean to take shots at him, I like Daniel Jones, but supposedly he's seeking $45 million a year. Is it true is my question. I think it's a smokescreen. I'll say why. Jones joined the new agency just maybe a full week ago. He left CAA and went to Athletes First. That's normal behavior in pro sports. Athletes leave agencies sometimes pretty regularly. So they switch it up depending upon what they're looking to get. I don't think Daniel Jones is looking for $45 million. I think it's a smokescreen. Because they're always wild in the NFL offseason. Just a bunch of fake news gets reported often because people want to push their narratives. I think the $45 million was either leaked by his former agency that's pissed that he left and they're not going to get a cut of his next deal, or the Giants put it out there so nobody even looks to sign him and they can sign him for way less and there's no market for him and they can be like, nobody's calling, Danny. You're going to have to sign with us for like 25. I think he's going to get somewhere in the north of 30, but I don't think much more than that. And I think $30 million a year for a starting caliber quarterback in this league that could possibly turn into a franchise guy is worth it. They've never given him weapons. He's never had weapons. He's never had healthy weapons. So, how can you even fairly say that he was given a fair shake in New York? I like him, but I don't know if he'll work out. The last piece of news was the wildest news I heard all weekend. Russell Wilson allegedly asked Seattle ownership going into last offseason to fire both Pete Carroll and GM John Snyder so that he could hire Sean Payton as his head coach because he wanted Sean Payton to be the head coach after he stepped down from the Saints. Russ has denied these reports. That was an alleged report, just so we're clear. Allegedly, Russ asked that. I don't know if I said that. Would like that to be put in there for the record because a lot of sports media people, I don't think we're at that level. Don't think we'll ever be at that level. But sports media people do get sued for things they say. It is happening right now.
Yeah, same thing with Brandon Miller, allegedly.
We're not going to get into that. Brandon Miller, interesting story there. I'm excited to see what you come up with to talk about on the box out. Because I know you're coming with something. Russ denied these reports, but then Sean Payton said on the Pat McAfee show during Super Bowl week that he got a text from Latavius Murray, who at one point played for the Saints. And this text came in December. It was like middle December, which happened to probably fall right before the game versus the Rams, where they got completely blown out of the water, and he threw a pick and Patrick Starr roasted Russell Wilson on national TV. The text in December that Sean Payton received said that his backfield teammate wanted Sean to come coach in Denver. Sean was trying to figure out who it was, and he looked at the running back room in Denver and was like, nobody there is I've ever coached. Who is it, Latavius? And he said 3. And then Sean Payton pretty much said at that point, hey, let's cut talking. Let's not talk right now. This seems like you're going to get suspended. I wonder if anything will ever come from that. That's probably information Sean Payton should have never said out loud. Because that's probably tampering of some kind. It'll never get punished, I don't think. But I personally think Russell Wilson denied these reports. I think it's true. I think he's a control freak. I don't think he's going to look forward to having Sean Payton as his head coach because Sean Payton's not going to let him bring his Team 3 into the building. And I think that is probably going to be more beneficial to Russ than he actually thinks it is. With that being said, that's pretty much all the real NFL news going on right now. So we'll move on into our rank 3. Pizza chains is today's rank 3. And I won't waste any time with it. We're just going to let Nate go first. And then me or you next after that, Micah. We'll figure it out. Nate's first.
Now, I want to start this off. I am a college student. I don't have a whole lot of money.
Doesn't matter.
So as an honorable mention, you got to put Costco up there. I'm just going to be real. For the price, it's like $1. I get a drink. I get pizza. It's a great deal. I know pizza's not bad. It's not bad pizza. It's definitely better than Little Caesars. So and it's for $1. It's great. It's ranked 3, but we get an honorable mention. So, yeah, I want to mention Costco. Now, people say they don't. Nobody can out pizza them. I have 2 that out pizza them, but Pizza Hut is my number 3. Honestly, Pizza Hut plays in the fast food pizza league, in my humble opinion. When I go to a restaurant and I sit down, I think that pizza is automatically better than whatever Pizza Hut could put out. And so they just play in a different division. But between Domino's, between all those other places, Hungry Howie's, Pizza Hut trumps them all, and they've been a staple. My second pick, I think, is just obscure, I would say. I think maybe not a lot of people know, but it's a really cool place. So it's called NYPD, New York Pizza Department. So what they do is they make New York style pizza, but the crazy thing is they engineer the water with chemicals and I don't know what's in New York water. It makes me how do they make New York water? But they design they chemically remake New York water so that their pizza can taste authentic. That doesn't sound healthy, but it sure is good. Holy cow! Cheesy garlic knots from there, fire. Their pizza, fire. And I got to put New York in there because New York has the second best pizza in the United States. The first best pizza, though, belongs to a city that's near and dear to my heart. Outside of Phoenix is probably my favorite city, Chicago. And there's a running debate, Giordano's or Illuminati's. Let's be real here. Illuminati's is my number 1. It is, oh my word, that pizza is so good. I cannot begin to butter crust. So you start off with a thick old piece of pizza like that, and then you have the little bottom. You layer it with sausage, just a full layer of sausage. Then you have a full layer of pepperoni over that. You put cheese and then you put tomatoes on top. You cook that bad boy for 30, 45 minutes. Comes out piping hot. You can't beat it. Lumonitis is probably the best pizza I've ever had, ever. And you have to eat it with a fork and knife. You can't at least to a certain bit, and then you can pick it up and eat it. But I love me some Chicago deep dish, and Illuminati's is my number 1 overall pick. Or yeah, whatever, pick 3. I don't know how it goes, but yeah, Micah's giving me. Bro, look at that face.
I'm drooling over here. I want some of that right now. How you just describe that?
Yeah, no,
Amazing.
Best pizza ever, in my humble opinion.
I'm muted. Can you hear me now?
Now we're good.
Oh, okay. Cool. Dang, I'm fat. That's the only thing that reminded me of.
I just wanted you guys to see his face. That's all I wanted.
I want some of that right now. Holy cow, that sounded amazing.
Yeah, I was completely distracted by that as well. I was thinking of it in my head. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some of that when I'm not broke. That sounds amazing. Holy cow.
Yeah, well, it's everywhere.
Which one? Illuminati?
Illuminati.
The closest location. How do you spell it?
Yeah. We're about to find out how close it is and if we're going tonight. Holy cow. That sounds amazing. So there's no sauce.
Oh, it's 2 different words. I thought it was okay.
There's
The sauce, and then it goes to sausage.
No, but the sauce is tomatoes.
Oh, the sauce is the tomato. So there's no liquid sauce.
There's no liquid sauce.
Wait, so how close is it?
I'm looking.
Nowhere near close.
Nowhere. You just looked it up?
Yeah.
61 locations.
Okay. What do we got?
There's 8 in Arizona. Oh, dang.
Right, but
So Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Arizona.
yeah, that's nowhere near us. That's not even.
No. But Arizona has 8, which is crazy.
Dang, you hyped it up and I can't even get any. That's tough. That is tough.
I'm sorry.
Well,
What's your rank 3, Micah?
okay, I'll go with my honorable mention first, which is Domino's. Domino's is solid.
Low. So
It is low. But
That's perfect.
when we get to my other ones, you'll understand. So number 3, is Pizza Ranch. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that one.
It's a Wyoming one. For sure.
That is that is one that is way out there. It's definitely Midwest. That is they have like over 200 stores though open out there in the Midwest.
I have heard of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty much just like the concept of like the one that you were talking about earlier. You go in, you pay like $5, and it's like a buffet kind of thing, and you just
Like
keep walking up.
CC's?
It's like CC's. Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's kind of like that, except you can go up to the counter and ask them to make a personal pizza, and they'll bring it out to the buffet, and then you can pick from it.
I think CC's does that.
So I mean,
Probably higher quality than CC's though.
I hope so, because CC's is at mid. So and Pizza Ranch is pretty good.
Mid is generous.
Mid is generous, yeah. No, Pizza Ranch is 3. Pizza Hut is number 2 for me. Pizza Hut is up there. I like Pizza Hut mainly because it's cheap, it's easy to get, and it still tastes good. So that's number 2 for me. And then number 1, I actually didn't go to this restaurant until over the winter break for the first time. And I went with my parents, but Marco's. Love Marco's as my number 1. So it's a little controversial, but like at the same time, whenever I tried it, it was really good. So it stuck up there. I'm a fat kid. I'll go for pizza. Like Marco's was just really good for me. Okay. It was really good.
Where is that at? Is that Wyoming or is that Oklahoma thing?
We have one here.
We do?
Yeah. Like it's like 10 minutes from here.
There's one in Pensacola.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it before.
I've never had it either.
I went to the one in Oklahoma. So there's one in Oklahoma. But yeah, no, they have one here, and I really want to go because. No, I did get pineapple on my pizza there, Jared. I did get pineapple there, but I also got the white sauce with the jalapenos and just
Disrespectful to pizza. But my take on pineapple on pizza, for anybody wondering, I told them pre-show, I hate pineapple on pizza. It's a crime. But the thing is,
those were the words.
Yeah, with pineapple on pizza, I do think it's okay to put it on pizza if it's a super chain place. Yeah, like ranch. If it's Pizza Hut, if it's Domino's, I'm okay with it. If you're going to a pizza place, like a legit pizza place, like we got one in the area called Skies, one of my favorite pizzas of all time. You ask them for pineapple on pizza, I would want them to shoot you dead in the restaurant. Like it's a federal crime. I'm okay with it on chain pizzas, but not actual good pizza places. With that being said, I went full chain. Like I went full there's one on here that's a localer place, but my Pittsburgh people will know what I'm talking about with this one. It's a good spot. But for my honorable mention, I got 2 because I couldn't disrespect one and go with the other. So my first honorable mention is CC's Pizza, and I'm going first because it is the lowest of all pizza. It is borderline homeless man pizza, but there was just something different when you were a child and you went in there, could literally eat every slice of pizza you could literally stomach, and then going over and playing at their arcade, and you're talking to your buddy, you just win a baseball game or something like that. Like this wasn't me because I didn't play baseball, but just in general, let's say you won a baseball game, your family's like, let's go to CC's. Should have took you to Pizza Hut, personally. You won the baseball game. You didn't lose. But, they take you to CC's. You eat 8 pizzas yourself as a 12-year-old. What a day. And you throw up in the parking lot. Every time. It's what you do at CC's. And that's actually kind of similar to my next honorable mention. A lot of the things are kind of similar, except not all you can eat pizza. Charles Entertainment Cheese has a good pie. Chuck E. Cheese is pretty good.
Okay, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, you never heard that before? No.
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese they got a good pizza. Anybody that says no obviously hasn't tried it. It's a solid pie. Is it the best? No. Is it recycled?
Yes. Maybe.
I don't think so. I think it's good. At number 3, I got Vocelli's. Listen, if you're from Pittsburgh, you understand those little baby pepperonis on that Vocelli pizza are phenomenal. I was a child last time I had it. I haven't had it in a long time because they took it out of my hometown because it didn't do well. I don't understand. Bring it back. Vocelli's is so good. It's still around. I saw it when I was on a shopping trip with my girlfriend over the winter. We were at the mall. in somewhere in Pittsburgh because our local mall was terrible. So we traveled to the one, I can't remember where it is. And we were parked at a Chick-fil-A. We got Chick-fil-A because we had a gift card. Not because I'm cheap, but like we had a gift card. Just to be clear. Saw Vocelli's in the distance and almost didn't go to Chick-fil-A with my girlfriend. Almost dragged her over to Vocelli's so she could try this, even though she hates pepperoni. But
pepperoni?
let's not go there right now. Not a fan of pepperoni, I guess, but I don't know. If she's watching this, listen. I think it's wild. Courtney do better, but like wild. But I understand it. I mean, I can understand why you wouldn't like pepperoni, to be fair. But Vocelli's pepperonis. Probably. Vocelli's is fire, though. I got to get it at some point here again in the future. My number 2, you can't out Pizza the Hut, in my opinion. Pizza Hut is my number 2.
Apparently you can. It's not 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, none of us put it at 1, so obviously you can. But I think the stuffed crust from Pizza Hut is an undefeated slice of pizza. It's tough to beat. No, there's no other stuffed crust on the market that even compares. Nobody's even close. Then at my number 1, it's my personal favorite fast food pizza. Domino's. See, a lot of people think that's bad take. Nate's done. Nate's had enough. He's literally leaving the show. Nate is gone. He's no longer in the camera view. He actually almost left the room. Nate said he's done. But Domino's is my number 1. I know that's a hot take, but I think a lot of people do agree that.
I made it on my list, but not number 1.
Yeah, I think Domino's is fire. But obviously that's a hot take in this room. Nobody agrees, but that's okay. I'm living with it. With that being said, it's pretty much all we had today. We hope you enjoyed it. It was a rough episode, but thank you for watching. Thank you for staying in. We appreciate all of you that watch every single week. You guys are the absolute best. If you got any questions or anything like that, I will post on my community tab. If you have any questions you want answered on the show, comment that there. We will answer it on the show when I make the post later this week. With that being said, see you guys next week. Peace.